Whoa, there's people on already.
Holy moly, look at what time it is. It's Goin Batty time. Hi, everybody. How you doing? We are so glad you joined us. And I see there are people already on. How does that happen? I don't know how to do that. Do you know how to do that? Get there before we even start the show? You are amazing people, and we're glad you joined us tonight. Welcome, everybody. I'm trying to get to the right screen because technology hates me. I'll find the right place and we'll be able to follow along. Look at all these people. Holy moly.
They're like, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Kevin, that face. I've been told that many times. Kevin, that face. Oh, Lord. It's because you're awesome and we are excited to see you. Thank you. Wonderful.
Blessed Lady Homestead is here.
Holy, what the?
Congratulations on your new little girl. She is so cute.
Cute little baby.
Yes,
I'll tell you what. I've always been the opinion that when kids come out, they all look like Winston Churchill.
Not her.
No, she's a pretty one. All of our kids came out looking all shriveled and.
That is horribly mean, Kevin.
They're my kids. They're much prettier now.
No, it's our kids.
They're much prettier now.
Amy Hubel, Shirley Dale, Julie from Georgia. See Amy T.
Shirley, go ahead and refresh. Maybe it'll come back on.
Crazy J. Sherry from Two Family Homestead is here. She says she's sending us a package, and that scares me.
Oh, I can't wait. I hope it's not ticking. Katie's in the background, troll slaying. We do not have a Katie cam, but if we did, you would be able to see her.
Stamps, how are you?
Rural Homesteader's here.
Michelle is here.
Noah's Ark is here.
Yep. Sharon Hutchinson.
Larisha.
Yep. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So
no, wait.
What?
Melinda from Mindy from Hoffman Homestead. We've got big news, but we're not going to tell you what it is yet. You got to wait just a few more minutes while we say hi to everybody.
We'll let Katie say hi to people too, just in case we miss anyone. So
that's right.
Florida Singularity, how are you?
Yep. I got an email saying I have a package coming tomorrow from you. Goin Batty, I'm so excited. Yay. Good. Heather, you look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
That's what they say on the live stream. And I say it too.
Okay. Well, thank you, Barbara. Thank you.
Very nice. That's a lovely shirt you have on, Heather. Looking very pretty today.
Thank you. I found this shirt and a bunch of stuff that I had packed away. This is one of my favorite shirts, and I had been looking for it forever. It's slightly wrinkled because we don't have an iron. I have to go get one this week.
Yeah, there's some things that we don't have in our house yet, believe me.
An iron and an ironing board. It's like, it didn't fit when we moved back from Maryland. Actually, the iron was broken. The ironing board didn't fit. We had to figure out what was most important, and that wasn't. So, yeah. So
we have, over the last year and a half, been journeying through selling a house, and it has gone from being a regular sale to becoming a short sale, and it has been a journey. It has been a year and a half of
it's been a bite in the rear end.
Coming home, resetting our life back in Ohio, and I'm telling you, it has been definitely a journey for us. Well, today I got the message, I got the word that all of the papers have been signed and we have closed on the house. The Maryland house is sold.
Yay!
We no longer own it. All of your prayers, all of your encouragement, all of your positive thoughts and way to goes, hang in there's have helped and sustained us. And guys, God is good, and he has shown us mercy in this situation, and he has sold that dang house.
Yes. And
so
we are very thankful for that.
We are very grateful.
Up and down, up and down, up and down roller coaster, because twice we thought we had it sold, and twice
that's two times
it fell through, and so this third time it's just terrible. Like, you think it's done, and then you're like, and then you think it's it, and then
it's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
makes me not very pleasant to live with.
So we are free from that as of today, and we begin the journey back into rebuilding our credit and enjoying not having not having that in our over our heads. So it's very cool. Yeah, it is a very stressful thing, especially when you're in an entirely different state.
Yeah.
And the money runs out. So anyway, yeah, that's 2 of our 9 lives are gone. Yep. That's for sure. For sure. So anyway, it is so good to move on, and the people that were behind this, doing the paperwork, the people who helped us in Maryland, there's no other way to explain how professional and helpful and incredible they've been. Our realtor, our lawyer, our the title company, the buyers, even the bank.
Well, even the neighbors
bank
that lived behind us too, because they kept an eye out on the house. They gave us the name of a person that would keep the lawn mowed and stuff like that. So yeah.
Even the bank has been cool about it, and they can oftentimes be the hardest part. So it has definitely been a journey, and we're glad it is over, and now we can feel like we can move on.
Very glad.
So anyway, that's our big news, and we wanted to share with you guys. We've told most of our family, with the exception of my mother, and she wasn't home, so she didn't get to hear the news. No, but I will love the flash shirt. Well, thank you very much. I had lunch with a buddy today. It was really kind of funny. He's a businessman, and this is
his youth pastor year.
I can get away with this sometimes as a youth pastor. Other times I do have to dress appropriately. But today I went to lunch with him, and he's in his business getup, and I'm in my my Flash T-shirt. And I said, hey, don't let the T-shirt fool you. I know a lot about certain things. I'm not just a pretty face. Anyway, it's just goofy. So we have a few updates.
Yeah, right? Our garden is doing we planted, for those of you who are new, we moved into this house, which is a house that we already own. We owned it, we rented it out, and the lease for the gentleman was up, and we moved back into it. We are now on a 1/4 of an acre. And in an urban environment, we still have the garden that's still kind of going strong at my mom's house. Hey, can you grab that sweet potato squash that I picked? So I've got green beans coming out of the garden at my mom's house. I've got these sweet potato squashes. I've got okra. I've got just tomatoes still coming out, and so I'm kind of excited about that. Here, let me see. There it is. This is what I thought was pumpkins, only it's not. But it works like pumpkin. So here's our other one. This one got dropped, so he's got damage. But so I'm going to be canning these with a friend of mine on Friday. She's going to come over, and she wants to learn how to can. So I think we're going to do this, and if we get really ambitious, we might make blueberry preserves too. Hair on my bit. But
blueberry preserves.
So we're gonna do that. Yeah, triplets. Actually, it's quadruplets because I have a smaller one in the refrigerator. So.
And then there's some that's already canned.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them back here that, let's see, right here, that I already canned. So we got the seeds from an American Homestead, and we thought we were getting pie pumpkins, and we got those instead, which is okay because I watched your video and I learned how to do it, and it was awesome. But we took out everything in our front flower beds, and which was pretty much just weeds and that barrier fabric, which is a nightmare once the weeds actually get down through it, because the gentleman that lived here really didn't weed the front thing. He just kind of mowed over it. And so we pulled all that up, and we planted stuff in our front flower beds, and we planted edible things. So we have beets, we have kale, we have garlic. My garlic is sprouting, which is good because the squirrels kept digging it up and then leaving it and not eating it. And we have lettuce and radishes growing in our front flower bed. So
We've got some stuff on the
we
live
know?
stream.
Okay.
How do you can it? Make us a video. That's the request from Wonderful Blessed Life. Then we have I made your pumpkin bars yesterday, and I need to make more. They were gone last night. Florida Singularity says, you store your cans properly without the ring. I just hate taking the ring off. It feels off to not have it on there.
You don't store
it feels naked.
Yeah.
But it's
you
not.
Don't well, then it makes it hard, like when you open jelly and your kids just set the lid on and then put it in the refrigerator and then it spills over.
Yeah.
But you don't store your, like Florida Singularity was saying, you don't store your cans with the rings on because it can give you a false seal sometimes, which will look like it's sealed, but then you'll open it up and like down in the center, it'll be in the center where it'll be nasty. And that was one thing I actually learned from my grandmother when I was a kid. Like she would always take the rings off, and she did it because she said it was to prevent the rings from rusting. Well, you know, who knows? And then where was it? Patera, I think, from Appalachia's Homestead was the one that said it can also do a false seal. I never stack them on top of each other either because the same thing can happen.
You don't want a false seal.
Yeah, you might poison yourself.
Yeah, you might have the wacky disease.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Botulism. Botulism, or yeah.
Yeah, that's nobody likes botulism. Let me tell you, folks.
Botulism is no fun.
If you're going to a party, don't take botulism with you.
Yeah. So with our garden, things are sprouting. We'll see how they do. It's been really dry and hot here. It's been like 90 degrees for the past like 3 days. And which is weird for this. It's almost October. So, but it's supposed to drop down in the next 2 days to like 62. So, yay.
It's been hot.
This is usually spring and summer in Ohio is usually like you have to watch out for tornadoes because of that extreme temperature flux that happens where it'll be like 90 one day and 62 the next day. So we'll have tornado warnings, and so rarely do we have a tornado touchdown around where we live, but there's constant warnings that happen. So fun part of living in the Midwest. So,
nobody likes a wild tornado.
Yeah, I can handle the tornado warnings I think better than maybe like the hurricanes because you kind of know they're going to hit and they're big. Where tornadoes aren't nearly as. I mean, they can do a lot of damage, and I've seen them do a lot of damage. But when you have like a hurricane hit, I had family in Florida and they were saying they couldn't, people were asking, well, why don't you leave? Why don't you get out? And they're like, do you understand that everyone is leaving? So you're going 10 miles an hour on the interstate. And then if you run out of gas, you're kind of stuck. And, then what do you do? So it's actually, and then people may break into your house while you're gone. So, he said for them, it was just better for them to stay. So yeah.
We do have a basement.
Yes.
And I understand that it is hot in Chicago, and Detroit. And no, I do not have botulism. I just have a runny nose. I'm not feeling very well today. But yeah, it was. I mean, it's pretty wonky. I just haven't felt like fall's here yet.
No.
I did drive down the street though, and even though it's hot, we're seeing a lot of leaves start to fall off of our neighbor's tree because that's usually the first tree of the season that loses its leaves, and those suckers are like this big. The leaves are huge.
It's a sycamore. It's a sycamore tree. So that one of those. Well, not she. It's a he now. It used to be Ella, and Ella passed away, and now there's another gentleman that lives here. But it's always going to be Ella's house.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. But yeah, it should be cooling off, and we've got some other things that we want to talk about. There's a few things that are sprouting in our garden right now.
I just talked about that.
I'm sorry, I'm not feeling very well, folks.
Yeah, he's a little.
I'm a little off tonight.
Great, so,
so the Goin Batty kitchen.
Yeah, so we are. We did a Friday night freestyle where we talked about those foods that always show up at like Thanksgiving or Easter or Christmas when you get together with your family. And we talked about weird ones, like, back in the 50s and 60s, they wanted to encase everything in Jell-O. And, and it was just weird. And we had some really funny, people talking about, like, one lady was saying that her grandmother ate scrambled, what was it, calf brains and eggs every morning for breakfast.
No,
and,
squirrel brains.
well, trucking it up said he ate squirrel brains, and I mean, it was funny. And then we talked about like the ones that you really like that you don't. They're kind of retro recipes that you don't see very much anymore. So I am going to make Watergate cake. And I have to go and see my grandmother because she doesn't hear very well, so I can't call her on the phone, and because she won't hear me. And then she's kind of funny because she's one of these people, when she doesn't hear well, she actually gets quieter. So she'll be talking on the phone, and I won't be able to hear her because she seems really loud in her own head, I guess. But I'm gonna get her recipe for Watergate cake. And that was something that used to show up at every holiday that my grandmother made, and everyone loved it. I mean, especially the little cake, because it had really fluffy frosting on it, and it was green, and it was awesome. And so I'm going to make that. And I've been saying for the last 2 live streams that I'm going to be making loaded potato soup, but nobody wants to eat soup when it's 90 degrees outside. So that one is coming. I promise that's coming. And then I'm going to make apple butter again because my kids have like gone through I did 10 half pints of apple butter, and I gave a couple of them away, and then my kids have gone through probably 5 of them. So I may have 3 half pints left. So I'll go to the place where we got the apples before, was it Piper's Orchard?
Mm-hmm.
Pick up some more apples, and I'll do an apple butter video. And like I said, I'm going to be doing some canning Friday with a friend of mine. So I don't know if it'll be on video because I haven't asked her if she would be willing to do that. So because she's learning, she said she wanted to learn, and she's never never done anything like that before. So I said I'd show her how to do it. So yeah.
It's kind of fun when you can find community around you, and we're starting to find rediscover some old friends that have come back into our world. They're good people, and so they're coming over Friday. So we probably won't be able to have a Friday night freestyle, but if it doesn't bother them, we might do some videotaping of the canning stuff. The potato soup that Heather makes is phenomenal.
Yeah, horribly bad for you, but tastes really
terribly bad for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Katie take over for a minute. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
Yeah, he's not feeling very good. We had chili tonight for dinner, and it is like affecting him badly for some reason. So let's see. So I'm also going to talk about because right now we have our compost pile going, we have our little garden going. The rabbits are doing fine. You know, Mr. Pants is in the house now. He's our little black and white one that looks like he wears pants. All that's just kind of going well. We're kind of at a slowdown because there's not, it's beginning to be fall and there's not a lot going on. So we did start homeschooling again. Finally, we were like 4 weeks behind everyone else.
We started on my birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Katie. You have to go to school.
Happy birthday. You get algebra as your present.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So we started homeschooling. We had 3 full days of it, and then we went on a field trip because that's how we roll.
Yeah.
And then, one of the good things, though, is that we applied through the Homeschool Legal Defense Association for a curriculum grant, which you can do. You have to be at a certain income level in order to apply for, or you have to be military or missionary, I believe, or single parent. So a certain income level, military, missionary, single parent, or a parent with a special needs child. And so we applied for that, and we got some grant money to go towards some curriculum that we use. Now we use easy peasy all-in-one homeschool. Then the reason that we use it is because buying curriculum for 4 children is incredibly expensive. I mean, to look at like things like Sun Life and Alpha Omega and Abeka and all of these other ones. I mean, it is just, we were looking at on the high end like around $4,000 for all of them, and even at the low end you're looking at about $1,000 for all 4. And it was just money that we didn't have. I mean, my husband is in the ministry, so, you know, that's not usually an occupation where you're, you know, pulling down like a large amount of money. You do it because it's what God has called you to do, and you do it because you love students, and that's why you do it, not because it's, going to make you a millionaire one day. And that's not what we're about. So when we chose this curriculum, and I have to give, I mean, I'm not sponsored by them, but I have to give a kind of a positive review for them, because it has helped my kids. I mean, I can show you like this would be, if you can see here, Kevin made up this little calendar for me, but it has like here on the side, it has all of their subjects, and then there's even more in the back. So it covers all of the subjects that they need. Now, the lady who created this, she was a missionary. She now lives in Pennsylvania and is going to, from what I understand, it's going to be moving to New Jersey. But she has made this curriculum so it complies with the state of Pennsylvania, which is, I believe, the strictest place for you to homeschool in the United States. So if you are doing stuff for Pennsylvania, you're covered for the rest of the country. I know that you're covered for here because she includes things that we don't necessarily need, but we do anyway. So like you're reading, you're writing, vocabulary, Bible, history, science, physical education and arts, physical education, health, math, foreign language. What happened? Sorry, we went away for a minute.
Yeah.
There was a phone call.
Yeah. So,
But that's what we have used. And the one thing that I have noticed, though, that has been lacking is that I am of the opinion that my children need to learn how to write in cursive. You need to learn how to do that. It's something that for a child who is dyslexic or has dyslexic tendencies, it is very difficult for them to write letters backwards if they're writing in cursive, because everything is connected. And so I'm looking at, was it Queen Homeschooling curriculum, where they have stuff for cursive, and we also need to work on spelling with a couple of them, because spelling is not their strong area. So I'm going to be looking into that, and we're also looking into, because everything that we do is online, we're looking into, right now we have one computer, and we are, and 4 kids. So, and we have borrowed a computer from my mom, but she's going to need hers back. So we're looking into maybe possibly getting like a Chromebook or something like that, so that at least we can have 2 kids on the computer doing their work while the other 2 are doing like printouts and stuff like that. So, that's where we are right now. And I really would love to make the jump to, like, Sun Life, Abeka, Alpha Omega, any of those that you hear so much great things about. But it just, like I said, to get it for all 4 kids is just a lot. So we're going to kind of stick with what we have now, and hopefully I can start adding as we go, because I have noticed that a lot of homeschool families will take and kind of piece their curriculum together. Some of them will follow a straight curriculum. They'll do Sunlight and that's it. But a lot of times it's, well, we'll pull from here, and then we'll do teaching textbooks for math, and then we'll do Story of the World for history. And you kind of pick and choose and pull your stuff together. And this being our 3rd full year, well, starting our 3rd year, I'm starting to understand that now, and kind of pulling, okay, this is what I need, and this is what I'm going to pull in, and kind of asking other people, like, what is it that you use, what works for you, has your kids ever struggled with this, and how do you deal with it? And so it's just kind of been a learning experience for me, because I am relatively new at this. And it's great because Katie, honestly, she kind of homeschools herself. She's pretty self-motivated. She gets her work done. She wants to do other things, and and that's great. But the boys need a little more encouragement to kind of stay on task because they're boys and that's how boys are, and they need to get up and they need to move and they need to run around, where Katie could sit there and, you know, for 3 hours and just do her stuff and get it done. You know, they're more, okay, let's get up, let's move, let's do this, let's try that. And I have to work around that because I don't want to discourage that because that's how God made them. So, but yeah, so that is kind of just where we are in our homeschool journey right now. So I guess sometimes I'll kind of hit on that because the whole, you know, growing things part is kind of done. So, yeah, so, we're going to talk about, well, Kevin's not here, so I think that might have been his favorite thing, if you want to show it off.
Okay.
We're going to talk about, I do better when he's here. So, and Katie is lovely, but it's a little different because she doesn't kind of back and forth with me quite as much. So this is Kevin's favorite thing here. It's his wind-up flashlight / radio /
cell phone charger.
Cell phone charger. Yes, it's
Cold.
It's cold. Well, oh, it's on. There we go. How do you turn the light on? Oh, here you go. There. See? But he really likes this because it's not battery powered or anything.
Yeah.
So, and then my favorite thing is that, like I showed you these charts. Kevin made them for me so that I can plan out the kids' day for school. And you can see, like, I checked off all the stuff that we do. We don't do school on Friday because that is Kevin's day off. And so we just, we've chose that stuff to be our kind of our day of rest. So we choose not to do school. So we have a 4-day school week. And we're going to be going longer into, whoa, there are all these comments that just came up.
Okay.
So we're going to be going into, I'm thinking about doing maybe year-round school and having kind of bigger breaks in between, like at, you know, big holidays and stuff like that, because we started so late. And because I just kind of feel like my kids kind of lose their momentum as they, as the summer progresses. Like when we have to start up school the next year, it's kind of like you learned that last year and you don't remember it.
How we started school, like how we started getting into the swing of things this school year was we read like Hardy Boys and the Nancy Drew series, and we played Monopoly for math.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's how we kind of started because we didn't have computers.
Wi-Fi.
We didn't have Wi-Fi. So let me see if there's both Devin and Keenan, same grade. We buy only one curriculum per year. Oh, that's smart. Well, mine aren't in the same grade. So,
Yeah.
And I have them at different, like they're at different learning levels. I mean, I think Jack and Max probably could do the same grade. Max is a really sensitive kid, and I wouldn't do that because that means that his brother's in the same grade with him, and he wouldn't, I don't think would react very well to that. But I think if my kids were close enough in age, I would probably do that. Katie, actually, I've got a 8th grader, a 7th grader, a 6th grader, and a 4th grader. And Katie actually could have been a 9th grader this year, but her birthday is late September, and we just decided when she was in kindergarten that she was really young and really small, and every teacher that I had ever talked to said, just wait a year. Don't send her now. It's not going to hurt her. You know, she's actually probably going to do better if she's not, you know, starting kindergarten at she would have just turned 5 when they started school. So, so we decided to wait a year with her, and I think it's done well for her. So, you know,
I think it's done well too.
I think it has. So, but yeah, so those are my favorite things and Kevin's favorite things. And then let me see here. we're going to talk about some of our resources that we have. And this is my new resource. I'm so excited about this. This was sent to me.
We went through this like yesterday. Mom's like, okay, you guys pick a recipe out of this thing, and show them.
Tara sent me this. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this. This is the Living on a Dime cookbook. And they come on before us, and I watch them as they make stuff out of this all the time. And like, they're super simple recipes. They're easy. They're inexpensive, which is great. And so the kids went and dog-eared all of the ones that they they wanted to try. And so those are on our meal plan list this week, which I can show you. This is my handy dandy meal plan. I have learned another one of my favorite things are these page protectors, because I can print out one of these and then just keep, all I have to do is take nail polish remover and take permanent marker off, and and then rewrite each week. I use it for everything, for the kids' chore charts, for their when I plan their schooling, for my meal planning, for my pantry inventory, for my freezer inventory. So that way I'm not wasting paper, and I'm not running off more and more and more and more of them. So I really like those. The other thing besides the Living on a Dime resource that I have is we have been, I don't know if you guys like history, but I am a huge history buff. Mm-hmm. Love history. Katie is,
it involves food usually, but
yes. So I have found, and this is a gentleman on YouTube, and it's called Townsend, Towsend, and he does 18th century cooking, and he shows how dishes would have been made back around the time of the Revolution, all the way up to like about 1820. So and he shows how it was cooked, how it was prepared, all of this stuff, and it has just been great. My kids, even my son Jack, who is not so much a history kid at all, has loved it because it involves food. And so he gets to see how the food was made and how they prepared it. And it has just been really great. Really recommend this gentleman. He also does things on, like how people dressed and what it was like to live in camp, and showing people who are reenacting, and just all sorts of really great, just having history come to life. And I just love that. And so that also got me thinking about, okay, so where are some places in Ohio where we could have that kind of experience? And so, and this is for people who live in Ohio, but I'm pretty sure like any state would have something like this. But it is ohiohistory.org, and you can get on there and look at all of the historical sites that are in Ohio. Or if you live in like, Illinois or Florida or whatever, I'm sure they have some sort of something like that. So like around here, they have probably 20 minutes away, they have, it's called the Mound, and it's in Miamisburg, and it is an Indian burial mound. And there are those all over Ohio. So Fort Ancient is one, and it's the Adena Indians and a couple other tribes that built burial mounds that you can go and you can see where that, where those are. And there are places like, it's not Fort Necessity, that was in Pennsylvania. There's a fort that was during the French and Indian War that is up more towards like Sandusky in that area. And hey. Okay. All right. So Katie's now my replacement. Kevin is not feeling good. He will not be back. So, but I mean, there's all sorts of different places. There's a place in Columbus where you can see what life was like from about, 1850 to like, 1890. And they'll show you like, they have a whole village kind of set up, which I didn't know. I mean, we have the Air Force Museum, which is probably 10 minutes from where we live, which is close to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And I always know that there's something weird going on overseas because we have those giant cargo planes fly over our house. And when you see more than one of them fly over, you're like, I wonder what's going on overseas. So, there's also, was it the Neil Armstrong Museum is up in Wapakoneta. There is a museum, a John and Annie Glenn museum. So a lot of like air and space stuff is here. There's just a lot of different history stuff that happens in Ohio, and ours is history past because we became a state in 1803. So a lot of that history is kind of, just before 1803 and then kind of after. So there was a lot of like, the Wright brothers. Actually, Carillon Park is close to us, and it has the Wright brothers original bicycle shop in there, and all sorts of other things. So it's just, so look in your state and see what you can find, especially if you have, smaller kids or you're homeschooling and stuff like that, because that's a great opportunity to have history kind of come alive for them. And when you see things like that, it makes it so it's not just some boring, dusty book that you're reading. It actually has, like you can see it kind of happening right before you. So, so yeah. And that's kind of all we had for tonight. I kind of blow through it fast when he's not here.
Yeah.
So,
a couple people were asking me about my curtains.
Oh, your curtains?
Yeah, I am almost done with them, except for the fact that I need to get another curtain rod because I can't put my curtain up without the curtain rod.
Yeah, we have to probably do that this weekend. So
yeah,
we have Kevin gets paid every other week, so he gets paid tomorrow. So we're going to be, her and I are going out grocery shopping. I know it's like lame girl time, like going grocery shopping, but we have fun.
We have fun.
Yeah.
We have fun.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm reading, so you can keep telling him about what's going on.
Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to experiment with like the camera and my sewing machine, because you have like all of these like weird angles that you have to put it at. So you either can't sew without putting your hand in front of the camera, or it's at like this weird angle where you can't see me sewing at all. So I'm gonna have to experiment with that because it's kind of hard.
Okay, so I'm going to answer a question here, and I don't know if you did. Baker Mom, the radio can charge your cell phone. You have to wind it. So let's see, we do year round, 6 weeks on, 1 week off. Take off most of December. I have a cousin that does that. Like her husband works for Hewlett Packard, and they take most of December off to kind of redo stuff. And so that's when she takes off the majority of their time so that they can kind of spend it as a family. So at the end of the school year, take 2 weeks off, use the rest of the time to plan upcoming school. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see, any more?
Oh yeah, the Thrive smoothies. I love making those because I don't usually measure anything with that. I just like put a couple scoops of this in there and put a handful of that in there, and and like you put it all together and it's so delicious.
Yeah, Hewitt Homestead, those page protectors, I love them. Like they have saved me so much, and because most of my stuff I print off, I put on cardstock so it's sturdier. Those are great. Is there anything at Lakeshore Store that you could use? I don't know what Lakeshore Store is, so that was.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, I missed a lot. There's a lot going on down here.
Amy, I could possibly have someone video me while I am sewing, but like usually I use a tripod and I try setting it at different like levels and like so that way it's still, but it's kind of, and someone had a good idea. I can't remember who it was.
Putting it at an angle? Yeah,
putting it at an angle so that way like it'd be easier to video me sewing, and I could try that.
Lakeshore Learning. I've never heard of that. I'll have to. Do they have a website? Because I can check that out. Supplies and education. Okay, I need to write that down. So we'll do that. Lakeshore.
I'm not very big at entertaining people, so when you're writing stuff down, I'm not really entertaining.
Yeah. So, many years ago. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for that. I'll look at that. But yeah. So that's kind of.
I do not use a sewing curriculum to teach me sewing. My
She-
great grandma taught me how to sew.
Yeah, she sat with my grandmother, and she has a natural gift for it. Where for me, it takes me a little more work to do it. She's really good at reading the patterns, and a lot of times I'm her grunt work. Like she'll read the patterns and she'll put everything. Pam Walker, Kevin is not feeling well. He started out the show and then he went to bed. He's not feeling really great.
Not feeling really well.
So she'll lay the pattern out, the fabric and everything, and where the pattern needs to go, and then I'll pin it on for her and cut it out. And so, but she's just kind of has a natural gift for that, and you know, it's just, you know, she's just very, very talented when it comes to sewing. And like I said, she's been making the aprons. She's made her own curtains. She's kind of slowed down on sewing so that she can get started in the school year. So, here we go.
I have quilted before. It's just I don't have the patience for it because the size quilts that my great grandma makes, they're absolutely huge. So she's like, "Oh yeah, you can try to
I got it. You keep talking. I got it.
Okay, you can try to like do it one day." And I'm like, "Sure, I'll learn how to quilt." I'm like, "I know how to sew," and I'm like, "This can't be any different." So I had this like huge like stand thing. And it just like sit there. And then I'm like, all you have to do is put the needle through it and then back up and then back down and then back up again. I'm like, this is not my cup of tea. I don't think I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Because
it just takes a lot of patience.
I don't have as much of a click with it as I do sewing, because I can look at the sewing pattern thing and I don't even have to read the directions for it. I can just be like, oh yeah, I know what to do. But with quilting, like, I find it kind of boring.
Yeah.
It's like not my
It's
thing.
not her thing. And you know, and maybe it will be like someday, but right now it's just not, you know, it doesn't hold her attention very well. So but yeah, so that's kind of
what we have.
That's kind of what we have, and that's kind of our show for tonight.
Yeah.
So, and we're gonna probably have to cut it short because I don't have, unless you guys have any questions for us.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to talk about.
Neither do I.
Yeah. So
yes, we can pray for Dad.
We'll end the night in prayer tonight, and we'll pray for my dad. Not my dad. Your dad. My husband. That was weird. So, so let's see. You might be able to find community quilting groups. Okay. Another possibility.
The quilting machine would probably be.
Oh, Baker Mom. Yes, there is a there is an update on the Maryland house. We sold it. We officially got the news today that it has been sold, and yay. So I'm extremely excited about that. Yep. So yeah, so well, we're gonna go ahead and kind of wrap up, and I'm gonna go take care of my husband because it makes me sad that he's not feeling real great. So Heavenly Father God, I thank you for this time that we got to spend together, Lord. I pray for just each and every person who is on this live feed, God. I pray that you will just watch over them as they go through their week. Lord, I pray that you give them the strength they need to get just all of the things that you place in front of them done. Lord, I pray for Kevin right now and him not feeling well. Lord, I pray that you just you heal his body and help him to feel better. I pray that as we go through this week, Lord, that we remember who we are and whose we are, that we belong to you. And I pray all this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So I thank you guys for joining us. And I'm really sorry that, you know, Kevin had to scoot out of here, but I'd rather him be in bed feeling better than to be here feeling sick. I could tell his face was starting to get really red, and I knew he wasn't doing too great. So yeah, so I guess that's it for tonight.
Yep.
And more updates as we go, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye. Got it, Kate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.